It's the world of cable news, and you are welcome to comment.
Sure.
This is what we do. When John Roberts just said, this is the art of the deal, you sat there shaking your head.
Absolutely. This is playing into Donald Trump's strong suite. He knows how to make a deal. He knows how to walk away from the table. He knows how to offer to come back to the table. I'm certainly not going to second-guess our president when it comes to negotiating with North Korea. I don't think he had any choice. Once he heard once he heard what the leader of North Korea said about the United States, said about our vice president, he had no choice but to walk away. But he's walked away in a conditional sense. And he said, I welcome you to come back, but on my terms. Remember, we have most of the cards in this negotiation, and I think the president's playing them well.
I think here's the key line here. Sadly, based on the tremendous anger and open hostility displayed in your most recent statement, to which you're referring, I feel it's inappropriate this time to have this long-planned meeting. What I think has happened with the president last week, he's characterized this as a victory for North Korea. He's characterized it as a victory for the world, and that's the way he's trying to sell this to Kim. I don't know what they're hearing from our leaders, but there is a lot they don't like. And in that sense, that's their art of the deal.
Well, I think, no question, both sides are negotiating at this point. Whether this ends up with a meeting or not, I don't think anybody can know. But we can't have our president meet with somebody who said the kinds of things he has said and threatened the United States with nuclear weapons. I think there has to be a toning down of the rhetoric on their side before a productive meeting.
That's a great point. In law, in your world, you look for good faith, right? And you look for bad faith. And bad faith takes you down a bad road. Good faith, however, does not. You have the release of these three Americans. That was a good faith gesture.
Absolutely.
You had Mike Pompeo invited to Pyongyang twice in less than about 4 weeks. That was a good faith gesture. Whether you believe their nuclear program has been crippled or not, they still had the implosion of the mountain earlier today. That, again, is a good faith gesture. So what's the problem?
Look, when Robert Kennedy had to negotiate with the Soviet Union over Cuba, he made a very interesting statement. He said, don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. And what they've done in North Korea has been positive. Release of the hostages, some things about their nuclear program. What they've said has been terrible. And so now we have a president who is saying in response to their saying, but still keeping open the option of having the meeting. So if I had to make a long-term prediction, I would predict we're going to have the meeting and it will be on somewhat better terms.
Better terms?
I think so.
Undeclared at this point.
Undeclared. I think there's probably a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes.
I agree with you on that, especially with China and the move yesterday in the South China Sea when the U.S. disinvited the Chinese from military maneuvers. All that's happening and revolving around this. You have to consider that.
And you have to also consider the Iran deal. The fact that the Koreans know that he pulled out of the Iran deal. And when he says something, he means it. And he's also ready to negotiate, to renegotiate the Iran deal. These are somewhat similar in many respects.
Fair points. Last point I will make. The last missile test the North Koreans conducted was in November of 2017. In my estimation, that's the most critical aspect to watch right now. There may not be another underground nuclear test, but they seem to have an ability to fire off a missile or test a rocket at a time of their choosing. If President Trump can show the American people and the world that North Korean situation is stabilized, I think that's the way you do it. If there is no more testing, that's the signal to China, to the American people, with a midterm election 6 months away, that we have this situation right now still under control, despite the news.
No, I agree with that, because it's the missile that is incomplete in their inventory. They haven't yet shown the world that they can send a missile to the shores of the United States. They already have developed their nuclear weapon. They don't need to test the nuclear weapon as much as they need to test the delivery system.
Great insight. We'll book you for More Than Legal next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Professor.